What is going on, guys? Jack here, and welcome back to The Climb with Luzanak. It's episode number 19 today. We have a big live-com double header, yes, double the action, and well, maybe a little bit of an air of deja vu, as the two opposition teams we have today are two teams that we've already taken on this season. That's because they are our big rivals, really. These have been the two teams who have been a bit of a thorn in our side. Hopefully today, 2 games at home, we're going to be able to do well. With it being a doubleheader, and with there only being 3 games since you last here, I'm going to get straight into the meat and potatoes of the episode. Is worth noting, though, that midway through this episode, between matches, we're going to have a look through the training at the club. It's something that a few of you asked about, something that I would like to cover in a bit more detail, how I'm going about developing our youngsters in the team, because we are a relatively young team. We've got lots of exciting players who have come through youth intakes, who we've signed from afar, who we've picked up as kind of, alternative options from Toulouse. And it is going to be a big part of our ethos, I suppose, as a club, how we do develop those players. So anyway, since we're last here, we've played 3 matches. The first of these, wow, what a result this was, 8-1. I'm not going to show the highlights, because if I did, we'd be here till the cows come home. But Barane Bar got a hat-trick. 2 of them were from the penalty spot, but let's not take away any credit. He's been a really good part of our team over the last 3 seasons. And whilst the recent hat-trick does inflate his statistics just a little bit, make no mistake, this man has been a really important part of our team this year. Elsewhere, good to see Big Dub getting a goal, Stefano Zobo grabbing a brace. Of course, he has agreed to sign with us permanently come the end of the year. He's very close to double figures for the season. And considering he's been playing out on the right a lot, that is a really good return for him. Manan and Morin also getting goals in this one. You'd think 8-1 win, loads of momentum going into the next one, but that really wasn't the case at home against Stanois. We lost 2-0. I think it was Billingsley who just gave away the ball awfully for the first. Their second goal was a very scrappy goal as well, and while they were clinical, we did have chances. We had a lot of shots, but we couldn't score. When you don't score, you don't win. So, disappointing 2-0 result. Our form really has been hit and miss in this recent run of kind of the last month or so. The good news is we did end on a little bit of a high against AS Poissy. An element of fortune about the first here. A mad scramble in the box, an own goal given. We'll take it. They all count. Then Kofi, as I've been informed his name is said, getting his first ever senior goal. What a moment for him. Of course, he came through the youth intake this year, immediately having a result and an impact on the first team, which is obviously just great to see. Big Dub grabbed another one. He's been in some pretty consistent goal-scoring form over the past few months since he's been injured. And then following on from that, Mathieu Castang late on from the penalty spot, 1 assist and 1 goal to his name. He picked up the Man of the Match award. Great to see the 20-year-old doing it, or the 28-year-old, not 20. He's been a bit hit and miss this year. We've not given him nearly enough opportunities really to shine, but with so many great young players coming through like Big Dub, Castang is just a player who's found himself on the fringes, really. I mean, when you compare him to Big Dub, there's only one option, really, and it's to play this guy. Of course, the former Toulouse Metropole youngster. Later, we'll talk about the approach to kind of developing him, how I'm training him, my long-term vision for him in our team. But for now, let's jump into the first game of today's episode. We're taking on Rennes, who currently sits 7 points ahead of us, so with 6 games left of a season. The reality is here, if we fail to win, they probably are going to run away with the title. Of course, they can't be promoted as a second team. That spot still belongs to us, at least for now. A defeat here, though, and things could get a little bit tight behind us. You can see Saint-Malo currently on 47 points, and Villefranche, who we take on today, well, they are currently 9 points behind us. A win here, and we would really extend the gap. And with 5 games left of the season, well, we'd be looking very good. Of course, when I say a win here today, I don't mean this game. I mean the game after this game, where we are going to be playing them at home. So yeah, let's get into this game. We're taking on Rennes. In terms of team news for today's game, the good news is, besides the El Moutaki injury, we're pretty much at full selection. We've been unfortunate in some ways with injuries. I feel like our injuries and absences through suspensions have all kind of come at once in certain positions. You may remember when we just didn't have a ball-winning midfielder for a month. However, as of late, we've been relatively injury-free, and it's given me a good opportunity to rotate the team around and kind of pick players based off form. The big dilemma at the moment is who to pick in the final third. Right now, this is the front 4 that I'm going with. Blaise on the left, Big Dub down the middle, Zobo on the right, and Manan in the middle. I am still looking at Kofi thinking, I really need to be giving you game time. He's already developing. He's started having a growth spurt, everyone. It's an exciting time here. In fact, because he's only just joined the club, we can't even look at his recent development. But if I'm not mistaken, his jumping reach has gone from 8 to 9, because in Football Manager, players learn to jump at rapid rates. It's not a gradual improvement. One day you wake up and you can just jump 5 centimetres higher than you could the previous day. If only that's how it worked in real life. He's on the bench. Seika Keita, great return for him. 6 goals, 10 assists. You would think, well, he's got to be playing more. But with Julian Blaise playing pretty well, with Big Dub and Zobo doing well in the wide areas, he's kind of just enjoying life on the bench. A bit of an impact sub for us. But of course, the exact kind of impact sub you want to have. Elsewhere in the team, we don't really have the same strength in depth as we do in the final third. So the likes of Barr and Morin hold down their spot. And of course, at this point, the back four in the team has become very, very settled with Guibert in goal. And, well, of course, Guibert in goal. I'll tell you what, Robert's not scored as many goals as I was expecting going into this year. He got a great start to the year. I now realise I'm saying this and he's got 7 goals in 23. But he got those goals earlier on in the year. Let me assure you. He slowed down. I was hoping for double-figure goals for a centre-back. But with 6 games left of the year, Hugo, we might need you to get one today to get us on our merry way. Anyway, looking at their team, Rennes, of course, top of the league, using a lot of the backup players from their senior team. Milo, I know, is a very, very good kind of playmaking option in their team. He's not too shabby for this level. In fact, how does he compare to Big Dub? I mean, you can see that they are, I mean, they're pretty inseparable. It's kind of crazy how similar those polygons are to one another. Yeah, not a great deal kind of separating them. They've got Kidile out on the right wing. He looks like a good prospect for the future. Abline, good little player in the air. We're going to have to be wary at the back. Hugo, make sure you've got your jumping boots on today, because you might need to be competing in the air against their forward. Anyway, they've won 4 out of their last 5 games, but if we perform at our best, we can deny them, boys. No one liked that team talk. I'm just going to tell them I have faith in them. It works 99% of the time, 100% of the time, and it's worked here today. So let's see how we get on. Of course, this game in the reverse fixture finished 1-0 to Rennes. It was an incredibly close game, and it was settled by a lone corner. I feel like we were the better team in that game, so I'm hoping that today we can get a little bit of revenge. There's an air of deja vu about today's episode, but with these fixtures kind of coming back to back as they did previously earlier on in the year in the reversed fixtures, it felt like we had to come back for them, because the reality is these are the 2 best teams in the league. They are 2 of the most competitive games we'll have all year, and a win here keeps our title aspirations alive, maybe just. Big Dub, big throw by Enzo. Keeper tips it onto the crossbar. Benet in goal for them. Deals with it. And Rennes living on the edge there. That was the first real chance of the game for either team in this first half. A set piece now. Blaise over it. The youngster whips in Hugo Robert. I mean, maybe I just need to have private chats with players all the time. Maybe that's what I should be doing. Maybe I've been playing Football Manager wrong. It turns out that when they're asking to use your microphone and stuff when you first launch the game, they just want to listen to you talk to your players. Hugo, thank you for listening, my friend. I don't know if that's a really weird coincidence or if they are really listening. I'm going to go with the latter just for the conspiracy theory. We're 1-0 up. Rennes scored against us from a set piece just before half-time in the reverse fixture. Now we've done it to them. And to be fair, on the balance of the game, we've had 67% of the ball. I would say that we've deserved that. We have bullied them. We've held the ball very, very well. Jérôme Marin on a booking does scare me a little bit. The issue is that Sedani is the only player I have who I could bring on into the team. Do I want to bring in Sedani just to play it safe? You know what? I think I do. Sedani's a bit more of an attacking option, but he's very good with the ball at his feet. More naturally an advanced playmaker, but that tailors him quite well to playing in the centre mid role for our team, because for all intents and purposes, he is doing the passing that you would expect from a playmaker. That is how we play. We like to hold on to the ball. Anyway, defensive action going to be called upon here as Kadile has a free header at the back post. Enzo was not marking him very tightly. The woodwork, though, denies them. We live to fight another day. Rennes, they are going to want to win the league comfortably, and a win here, whilst it would still very much be in their own hands if they were to lose here and we get the win, I mean, there'd be nerves on them. They're a young team. They're a B team. They've got the pressure to deal with. Would they be able to hack it? I mean, I would like to win every league that we go up through, really, but at the same time, the promotion's the main thing, and a win here does help us, you know, maintain our gap at the top of the table, which, whilst the title isn't the be-all or end-all and would be nice, promotion is the be-all or end-all, and at the moment, we are very much on course, well, to do the best thing that we can right here, which is get a win. Blaise on the ball now. Blaise has passed one player. The number 95 skips past another. Can he finish it? Can he finish it? No, rebound hits the woodwork as well. Oh, you thought he was going to score, but he has been denied twice there. Menon's been quiet today, so you know what? Let's bring in Kofi And I think we're going to make our other change as well now. I'm going to bring in Sega Keita for Zobo, who's also been just a little quiet by his own standards. The two, I believe, leading goal scorers in our first team both hauled off the pitch after 60 minutes. Hopefully the players we've brought on to replace them are going to get the goals that we desire, or at least help us defend this lead. 1-0 though, with 20 minutes left. Rennes are going to consider themselves very much in this fight. Despite all the possession we've had, both teams have had a decent number of chances. No clear-cut chances though for either side. Just lots of half opportunities. But we've taken the one that counted as Kofi, puts it to Keita, the two subs linking up. Sega Keita whips it in. That is not the best ball to Blaze, but Enzo keeps it alive after Blaze pulls it back. Whipped in, Kofi's there, falls to Blaze. Julien, you beautiful, beautiful man. He does a roly-poly in celebration, a man after my own heart. I don't know why our players are pretending to be chickens. What I do know is we're 2-0 up, and that should be game, set, and match. A bit of fortune about this. The defender not really doing the best job of clearing the ball, playing it across his own line. Julien Blaze was there. He gets his 4th of the year. Not perhaps the crazy goal-scoring tally you would dream of him getting, but considering he's not been a super regular fixture of the team until late, he is in some fine form. And well, he's got the ball again. I thought he was about to double his tally for the game. Keeper distributes that very quickly. Clearly Rennes in a hurry to try and hit us on the break when they can. Which, given the way that we like to just dominate possession and boss games, I suppose their game plan coming into this is going to be to try and catch us out on the break, as Billingham brings it forward. Now goes back to Skedato. Is there a highlight here, or are you just wasting my time, Football Manager? Big Dub with it. An ever-present part of the team this year. Ever since he missed it, that kind of start of the season with injury and came back into the team, he's been one of the first names on the sheet every single week in the team. And while he's lurking, as Blaze cuts inside, hits the woodwork again. Has anyone explained to him he is allowed to pass from that situation? I know it's a Football Manager thing, isn't it, really? Players not pulling it back there. Blaze, you're allowed to pass. I knew I should have given him no goal bonus and a bigger assist bonus to encourage him to square it. Kofi's got the ball here. Take a Keita. Going to mop up the pieces after the initial effort to pass it was blocked. Sedani now with Bar. Nice build-up play here. Spreading it wide, really pulling Rennes left and right, and well, right again here. Sedani plays it to Billingham. Sega Keita. Kofi's in the middle. Kofi's in the middle. Could he get a live com goal today? That would be nice. The way this game's played out, this could be a pretty good opportunity for him to do just that. As Blaze cuts inside again. Doesn't shoot this time. I was half expecting him to. Sega Keita heads it into the middle. Sedani hits it from range. Big Dub gets the assist. And well, the subs have had an impact, everyone. The Big Dub, I think it was, who nodded it down there. And Sedani on off the bench. You know, more naturally an attacking midfielder, slotting into a bit of a makeshift centre mid role, but absolutely doing the business for us there. One of the rare advantages of having Big Dub. It's not often you have quite a lanky centre attacking mid, but when teams have that centre defensive mid, or just a more defensive midfielder who's good in the air, it's nice to be able to match them. They're calling Big Dub the French Fellaini, as Kofi's under it, and Kofi gets a goal. He has no heading ability whatsoever, but we saw his little jumping burst. The 5 centimetres that we talked about, the extra little bit of spring in his step, it's come up trumps. Billingham launching it in. Kofi with his first goal in our live com. I said I had a feeling it could happen. It's happened today, and I'll tell you what, the future's looking blooming bright, isn't it? Blazer scored, Kofi scored, Big Dub's got an assist. And Hugo Robert, the captain, just doing his thing. What a superb win that is, and a deserved win. Perhaps the scoreline flattered us a tad, but Rennes did not create enough, and we were very clinical in the latter stages of that game. As they perhaps gambled a little bit more, threw a few more men forward, we managed to punish them. Looking at the results elsewhere in the league, Villefranche won 3-1, so they maintain the gap on us to 9 points. But with 5 games left of the season, a win in our next game, whilst it wouldn't mathematically guarantee us promotion, it would put us in pole position. As for Saint-Malo, they have already played, so they maintain 10 points behind us. 5 games left, though. Things are getting spicy. And while we're going to go forward a week, I'm going to go to the pre-game of the Villefranche stuff. We're going to go through training, though, folks. Talk about this next generation Luzenac team. Lots of youngsters who I'm keen to give game time to. Loads of potential between them. You can see plenty of first-team football played. And, well, I will join you guys in a second. Let's jump forward and let's discuss the future. Let's do this. So here we are, guys, 1 week in the future, and before we get into today's second game, I'm going to go through the youth setup here in terms of training for some of the players in the first team. One question that always comes up is, Jack, how do you have your training set up? Now, I have a shocking confession, everyone. I don't bother with team training. I just leave the team training to be determined by my tactics. I'm sure I could get more out of it, but at no point have I ever felt like it holds me back. I think for me, I get the most out of training when it comes to individual focuses. And well, you can see here, judged by recent training performances, things are going pretty well here. I really do value this screen a lot, and I recommend that if you're just getting into your training, you use this as the hub for everything. It's very, very useful to be able to look through players, see exactly who's developing and how they are developing as well. So the first thing to talk about is personalities. Now, you'll know that I brought in Jermaine Defoe, who is a perfectionist. Player personalities are a reflection of their hidden attributes. Now, if you don't know, as well as the attributes you see here, players have hidden attributes. These vary to stuff like their consistency, important matches, which are shown in the pros and cons of a coach report, their competitiveness or dirtiness as it's known in game, their adaptability, their ability to move between countries, learn new languages, and their versatility, which allows them to learn new positions quicker. These are all aspects that belong to a player that you can't see normally other than through coach reports. There are a few that apply to personalities. Now, determination is one of them, which obviously isn't a hidden attribute, you can see that. But the two others that we really care about are ambition and professionalism. Now, ambition and professionalism are two of the three that impact youth development. The other is determination. So for a perfectionist is someone who has good ambition, good professionalism, and good determination. They're good at everything without excelling at any one thing. But when you have the three pillars that make up a player being those three things, the fact that Jermaine Defoe is good at all of them makes him an ideal mentor. So as you can see, I've got Jermaine Defoe, and then we've got various of our youngsters, you know, the better ones who I've got being tutored by him. So because he is a highly influential player, he has a better influence on the group and will hopefully benefit them in the longer term in terms of imprinting his personality onto them. A question that I get asked a lot from people is, hey Jack, the determination of all my players is dropping down. I'm sure you've experienced it. You feel like you can't do anything and all your youngsters' determinations are dropping. The reason that happens is basically your squad personality drips down your team. So if your super senior players, your players who are considered team leaders and influential players, don't have good determination, that will negatively impact the determination of more determined youngsters who are less influential. It's a bit like a virus that spreads amongst your team, and it's one of the reasons why it can be quite important and quite good to get good team leaders and good influential players who do have these better personalities, because if you have a player who is unambitious, who isn't very determined, and is on the more influential side, it will nuke your players down quite a lot. So how does this all apply to youngsters? I realise we're going on a long roundabout thing here. Basically, you want to try and get the best personalities you can onto youngsters. The younger they are, the better you can impact them. And it's one of the reasons why with a player like Julien Blaise, the fact he's got fairly professional personality despite having average determination, it's a relatively good personality to have, and that is going to encourage him to develop. It's really worth noting a player's personality because that will have a heavy impact on how they do develop as a player. So the next thing I want to talk about is game time for youngsters. When to play a player. This is something that comes up a lot. With players in Football Manager, when they're at the age of 18, that is really a point where you want to get them regular first team football if you can, or at least regular football, be it playing with an under-20s team, with a reserve team. The higher the level of football, the bigger influence it will have. So for a player like Julien Blaise, 16 years old, playing men's football in the 4th tier of France, that is going to give him a better benefit than if he was playing for a youth team. Game time on its own isn't going to make a player. So Gerard Marin is a good example of a player here who he doesn't have a great personality. Low self-belief is not particularly good. Only 9 determination. So despite these factors, and despite the fact at 18, I've given him a load of game time this year, and he's done very well. He's not improved as much as I would like, and a lot of this comes down to his personality. If we look at his all-time development over the last 2 and a bit years, this is the development we've seen. But in the last 12 months, where he's been playing a lot of first-team football compared to Julien, you can see how he hasn't improved at the same rate. He's been given more first-team opportunities. He's a little bit older, but unfortunately his personality and potentially just a little bit of bad luck and various other factors has meant that he hasn't improved as much, and players will just naturally develop at different rates. So Gerard Marin hasn't developed so well, whereas Cyprien David is a little bit different. I'm hoping he's going to be a little bit different here. If we look at his development for the last year, you can see here, he has not played anywhere near as much football. He's only played, I think, 3 games that he's played in the league for us this year. He has not played a great deal of football at all. He's played well in those games, but because he has got a determined personality, because he has just naturally improved a little bit more, he's avoided injuries, he has turned into a much better player in a similar period of time. And of course, you can see here, his physicals have improved a little bit more, and across the board, he's just improved more than Marin. So one of the big reasons I'm such a fan of Big Dub is playing super regular football. Professional personality is great, because that's one of the 3 areas which impacts how well a player performs and develops. Obviously, his determination of 14 is very good, and despite being inconsistent, he's played super regular football and done very well for us. 5 goals, 5 assists. You could see from this news inbox item here, he's showing pleasing progress. He's shown, reason to be optimistic. And if we look at his all-time development, you can see here in the last, 2 seasons, just shy of 2 seasons, he has shown some really, really good progress. In terms of the way I'm training players, if we just have a quick look at a player like Big Dub, the role that I have got him trained in, if we just go to the training view, the role that I've got him trained in is Shadow Striker and Quickness. I don't play with Shadow Strikers, you'll know. The reason I've got him trained as a Shadow Striker is simply because as a Shadow Striker, we're going to see a bit more focus into his physicals. He is a player who, for my liking, doesn't have good enough physicals for a centre attacking mid, the kind of player that I want. So as a result, by training him as a Shadow Striker, we are focusing on these areas. And very often I will train a player in a role they're not playing in the first team, but instead is a role that will better round their game to make them the kind of player I want. So for example, for Julien Blaise, I'm going to be training him as a trequartista, and the reason for doing that is I want his agility, his balance, his stamina all to be a little bit better. The reason I don't think I would ever play Blaise as a striker is because he's got 8 finishing. That said, a player's attributes can go up by 7 or 8 over the course of the first few years of their career if they really, really excel. A player like Julien Blaise, who's 16 with 8 finishing, by the time he hits 23, he could have very, very good finishing, 14, 15s, and suddenly it doesn't look like a gap in his game. Equally, if his finishing doesn't improve, there are different ways that you can approach things. So, for example, if his composure got a little bit better and his off the ball got a little bit better, a good thing to maybe look at training him with would be a trait to go around the keeper with the ball. If he got better composure, there are different player traits that can help mask over players' weaknesses. That is one such thing. As for Kofi, very similar situation, a player who, he isn't very good with his finishing. So as a result, I've got an additional focus on his shooting because I think he is more likely to play a striker position than Blaise is. But the reason I've got him on complete forward is because I want TLC everywhere on him. He's a little bit one-dimensional as a player. If I was to only train him as an advanced forward, stuff like his strength and his jumping reach wouldn't get the attention that they could do with getting, really. I feel like, with a player who has a load of potential, I want to get them as well-rounded as possible. Additionally, stuff like just to focus a little bit on vision could help for down the line if I do decide, actually, your 8 finishing, it hasn't improved enough. I don't think you can be a leading striker for us. I see you with a role in the wider area. For me, vision is just a little bit more important then. Okay, I have just talked for 15 minutes. I'm going to have to edit this bit down. If you would like a more detailed chat about this, I am thinking about doing some tutorials and some guides going into FM21. This is the kind of thing I can cover in way more detail in a very specific video for it. Apologies. I hope this was useful for some of you. Shall we get into today's game? It's against Villefranche. It's a big game for us. We are at home for this match. Hopefully we're going to get a good result. In terms of the team, I'm going to make a few little tweaks. I'm going to bring in Kofi, I think, to play up front. I'm going to put Sega Keita out in the wide area. I was impressed by how both these players did when they came on off the bench in the last game. They deserve the nod. Elsewhere, we just don't have the same options at the back. I've already mentioned that earlier on this episode. We just don't have the rotation ability at the back, but we are blessed with the fact that in the final third, if things aren't really going to plan, if a player lets me down one day, there are plenty of other options in the exact same position who can come in and have just an immediate role on the team and an immediate role in the first team. So anyway, let's get into this, boys. Can we get a result? I've rambled about training for 15 minutes. Can you show us the fruit of our labours? Can you show us what we're all about here? Big Dub. Come on, I've bigged you up. We're training his quickness. Whenever you see him make a run that's quite quick, you've got to acknowledge the fact that I was part of it. Blaise cutting inside. Can he finish it? What a save by the keeper. The 8 finishing. I think Blaise has 8 finishing. It's a bit of a shame that both Kofi and Blaise, two players who are naturally strikers, have bad finishing and kind of average composure and off the ball in the case of Blaise. They're not my kind of dream lone strikers, of course. When you have a lone striker, you want them to be a goal scorer. If a player has slightly lower finishing, they can probably do a job as a supportive striker. But as the man leading the line, not really for me. Of course, the irony of all of this being is that I am actually playing Kofi as the striker leading the line today with all 8 of his finishing. Hopefully he's going to prove me wrong. Hopefully he's going to prove me wrong. He's going to prove the haters wrong, prove the doubters wrong. As Hugo Robert, oh my word, he's hit the woodwork. He's really not taking it well since I criticised him for his lack of goals. He almost had his second goal in 2 games in this episode. But with half an hour gone, it remains 0-0 here. Another chance though, whipped in. Is that a penalty? Bar is over it now, Bar. Not today. Not today. Kofi, you've got 13 penalty taking and 8 finishing. You could argue that he's a better penalty... Well, he is the better penalty taker in the team. Kofi, take that ball, score the goal. Number 58. It's not exactly the most iconic of numbers. Maybe he can make it iconic. Kofi steps up, smashes it in. And, 2 goals in the live com today. He got a goal as well since last episode. The man is in good goal-scoring form. I think that is now 3 goals in 5 appearances. That is not too shabby at all. Slots it away into the bottom corner. Wheels away in celebration. Hugo Robert on a booking. Be a good boy, Hugo. I've been praising you today, telling you you're a very, very well-behaved player. Don't betray my trust. Don't betray it. 1-0 at the break. That is the exact same scoreline we had last game. Hopefully we can extend the lead to 4-0 before the night is over. Anyway, I'm a little bit concerned about the situation with Enzo at left-back. So you know what? We're going to bring in Bruce Gerrard, who hasn't played nearly enough this year. He's not really good enough for this level, but he's the only player who we have who can play on the left and right side of defence. One thing that I'm always keen on with my defenders in Football Manager is that when it comes to the subs, you have one player who can play on the left and right side just to minimise the need to have a dedicated right back and a dedicated left back. Particularly when you've got 5 men on the bench, obviously you need versatile players. It's what Bruce Gerrard does well. 18 minutes left though. First highlight of the half. It's been a slow half, a slow burner. They've got a chance here, hits the woodwork. Bar just about loops it clear. 17 minutes left. The pressure is mounting. But we remain ahead in this game. I am going to take off Sega Keita. Zobo, come on down. Julian Blaze on a booking scares me a little bit, but he's going to have to be well behaved. Although what we could do is bring in Kofi out onto the wide area and then bring in Manan on off the bench. Let's do that. We've basically reversed our subs of last game. Let's see if it can have the same effect as they have a chance. Zobo on off the bench, heads it just about off the line. Big Dub now, chasing it down. I thought for a second his quickness training was going to come into fruition, but he didn't get there first. He does get here, though, the lanky forward. Now with Kofi. Big Dub with it. I really need to nickname Kofi, don't I? Zobo, fresh off the bench. Look at him go. Look at the pace. Manan is off ahead. Plays it through to Kofi, and he should have scored that, shouldn't he, really? He would have been offside. It wouldn't have counted. It doesn't matter if he scored or missed it. I am definitely going to show bias towards all the products of our youth academy. I'm very sorry, because that will upset some people, but as far as I'm concerned, Blaze, even Big Dub, who's not really through our academy, they can't do any wrong. Zobo, running into trouble, you absolute donkey. It's like the Gordon Ramsay, you know, the picture where it's like the adult, what's it called? I can't remember the TV show now. The adult show and then the kids show, and he's like, you know, really nice with the kids and then shouts at all the adults. That's me with my football team. I say that, the players I'm shouting at are only 22 years old, but compared to our 16-year-olds in the team, they're ancient. They're old. Look at your Zobo, pathetic. Okay, he's not taking it well. Can he finish? I mean, I never doubted you, Stefane. You're the best in the game. You're the stars forward. Joining us permanently, of course. Always rated him. 2-0. Barane Bar gets the assist. Zobo gets his 11th goal of the season. And, that should be game, set, match. And dare I utter the words... promotion. I'm dreaming of it, everyone, at this point. With, a handful of games left, we are going to be all but done. All but done. I think a win in our next game would just get the job wrapped up. I imagine next episode, assuming we don't completely bottle things here and between now and the end of the year, next episode will be the end of season live com. I'm going to be bringing back the end of season awards. So we're going to have a player of the year, a clubman of the year, a young player of the year. And, of course, you'll be able to let me know who you think is the recipient of each award in your eyes in the comments as well. As Kofi whips it in. Headed away. I mean, we want more. I joked about, maybe we could get 4 like we did last game. right now the players look hungry for another. They don't look content with 2. Big dub to Zobo. Lovely build-up play here. Really, really nice passing. Lovely back heel. If there's a goal at the end of this, Manana's let us down there. That would have been a contender for goal of the season in my eyes. What a lovely piece of passing play. Whilst we haven't dominated the ball as much as we did in the previous game against Rennes, I mean, 58% on most scales is considered pretty dominant when it comes to possession. We've had so many chances compared to them. I mean, if they score now with 3 minutes left, maybe I do start to panic because they hit the woodwork. Billingsley lumps it clear. That'll do us. And that should be all that's done for this game. A 2-0 win, a convincing little performance. Kofi from the spot, Zobo later on. Barane Bar gets man of the match. He's absolutely loving it. And yeah, well, that isn't going to guarantee us promotion by any means. With Saint Malo losing as well and Villefranche losing, this is how the league table looks. We are 11 points clear with 12 points on offer. And really, I'm now looking at Rennes. I'm looking at Rennes thinking, we're coming for you, Rennes. Watch out. Tomorrow's episode, it's going to be a big one. The end of the season. I want the title. I don't know why I'm doing it like I'm Kevin Keegan threatening the Rennes manager. Who is Rennes' second team manager? Who is it? Who am I intimidating here? I don't know if we can actually find them. Staff is always a bit weird. Second team staff. We're coming for you, Romain Ferrier. Look at him. Thinks he's... I mean, he's pretty bloody good, isn't he? He's average. Average. We're going to take him down. He's rubbish. I'm confident. Romain, more like... lots of pain. I'm not good at this fighting talk. Next episode, we will be taking on Saint Malo to wrap up the year. I hope the training wrap-up that I did today was useful. I rambled quite a lot. I'm going to try and edit it down into something more digestible. As I mentioned earlier, it may well be a case that when it comes around to FM21, I do a proper deep dive series of videos into training because there's so many facets to it that deserve a lot of attention, and it is difficult to really condense it all down into one. But hopefully there was some nuggets of information in there. Hopefully you found it useful. That's going to be all from me today. Thank you for watching, guys. I'll see you guys again for the end of season tomorrow. Let's win the league. Let's win it with style. I'll see you guys then. It is me, Jack, and I will talk to you guys in a bit. I'm out.